People deluded. I hope you're all doing well and you're all safe and everything's there. What can I say? As you know, Fridays equals Q&A day. So without further ado, let me crack on. Thank you very much for the questions. If I've missed you out, apologies. It's not on purpose. I've tried to make sure I've included everybody's question, but these things happen. So let's crack on. Before I read the ones on my laptop, I've actually just remembered somebody asked me a question via my Instagram messages and on Twitter. So put that on silent. You lot don't need to hear the clicking. We'll answer these ones quick. What mentions are these? Alright, cool. Nobody's calling me on Twitter in my mentions. We can crack on, people. Techie Terrera's asked me. Two good questions. Well, two very good questions. Who would be your 3 realistic signings in the summer? That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. You put me on the spot here, my guy. I think Diallo of Dortmund, I don't think he's perfect. I think he's quite raw, but I'd go for him. Surely that's realistic. How do you define realistic? Because it depends in terms of money and things like that. I'd say him. I'd say he's a young player, but Mohamed Ittaren, if it's possible to just put a financial package together, he's not going to cost 50 million. So I'd say that. Inaki Williams. You put me on the spot there, my guy. That's a good question, man. I'm trying to think of midfielders. Cousins of Gladbach, I believe he can develop into a player. That's a good question, my guy. But I don't know, man. I don't have an encyclopedia of players. I really don't know. But you've asked as well, what's your thoughts on Kimbele? I've got mixed feelings after his game against United. Personally, I like him a lot, man. I don't know for his potential and all of these sort of things, but I think he's a decent defender. So hopefully that answers your question. Ooch has asked as well. Shout out to her, all the way from Canada. Do you study fan behaviour in sports and other sports? Any recommended articles or vids? What's your view on the role of a fan in football? Well, I would say I'm interested in the behaviour, but it's more so of the players. Sorry to disappoint. I don't really have any videos or articles for you to go to. But in terms of the role of a fan in football or any sport, we're the livelihood, to be fair, because it goes both ways, because we can't. If you're an Arsenal fan, we can't walk away from it, and we all know people say stop spending your money at the Arsenal, and many people would, but there's always one person that would go back, and that goes for every fan. Football is contagious. We'll say the club's causing us issues and stuff. Fans are travelling around the country. We're the heartbeat. The club wouldn't be a multi-million-pound business without fans, because the fans are the consumers. We're buying the tickets, we're buying the kits, we're going on pre-season tours, season tickets, and all match day stuff, all sorts of things. So we've got a very important role. So the fans are still very important, but I would say fans are not important by the same degree, because I wouldn't even say back in the days, but it seemed like you could, if there was legit issues as a fan or with your club, you could stomp your feet a bit and things would get done. Now, many of these clubs are dictatorships. That's the role of a fan. So the role of a fan is ultimately, for me, just to support the club, like really and truly, through thick and thin. There's not really much more I can add on that one personally, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think that's all I can say. Back to these questions, though, that are actually on Word, that I've copied and pasted from YouTube comments and not whatnot. Oh, don't freeze. Well, it doesn't matter if it's frozen. First of all, Will Greggs asks, what's your thoughts on Jamal Lewis? I think he's a decent player, but I need to see a bit more of him to get an informed opinion, my guy. Sorry to let you down on that one. I can't even say that name. Inactive, forgive me, my guy. You said deluded. What's your opinion on lower league clubs, League 1 and 2, and the development of young players there? The same as all, to be fair. It's a bit harder for League 1 clubs and League 2, especially because you're seeing many clubs close. If you look at 2 clubs that recently went down from League 2 into the Football League, they're considering getting rid of their academy, scrapping it, because obviously at Arsenal and Spurs and Chelsea and all of these top sides, they've got more money because they're in the Premier League. With that, they've got more of a budget allocation, and everything in life comes down to money. So it's difficult at some lower league clubs, because they're trying to become competitive and move up the ladder. You can't always do that with young players. The academy scheme, for many reasons, you're seeing your best players picked off. Some of these clubs don't even really want players to reach the first team. There's a certain club that recently got relegated from League 2 that's just in it for peas, to be fair, with your sells off players for 12 grand and sold to bigger clubs, whether they can make it or not. They've got a big role, man. League One and League Two clubs. They've got a massive role. If you look at Luton, Jack Wilshere came through there. Jay De Silva, who's now at Bristol, I believe, on loan from Chelsea, came through there along as well as his brothers. Max Aaron's playing for Norwich, came through there as well. So it's very important. Charlton are League One, right? Charlton have a good academy. You're seeing Joe Gomez progress to big things. Shelvey came through their academy and he's a Premier League footballer. Obviously, he had many stops at other clubs, but you get the point. So there's a couple League One and League Two clubs doing big things. Exeter as well. Admittedly, I can't remember what league they're in, but Amanfadu was there, and Matty Grimes before was at Swansea. So there's some clubs doing some good things. It's just tough because you're working with hardly any budget. You're obviously it's hard for any player if you're these League One, League Two sides. All you can really offer someone is progress to the first team. You can't offer them, because it does happen. You get them top players that are earmarked for bigger things. You can't offer them a competitive environment against academy sides, etc., to really help them. So many players become big fishes in a small pond sort of thing and don't really develop. You can't offer them the riches that the game could possibly offer them, to be fair with you. So many clubs, when you do get that one player and he does get picked off and moved to a bigger club, is the academy thing worth it? So that's my opinions. I feel many clubs are doing great things, but the dynamics of the game, when you're seeing these clubs close, not even just League One and League Two, Premier League sides. I think Huddersfield got rid of their academy. It's not becoming viable, to be fair. Brentford as well in the Championship. That's what I believe. That's where the game's going personally. We're not going to really see academies of such under 8s, under 9s, under 10s. There'll probably be specific age groups for people that identify potential to be one day professional footballers or the early skills. So what I mean is there might be under 8s. You might keep a couple of them under 8s, train them. They might still play for their grassroots clubs, but you keep an eye on them. Or it might be a thing of clubs only looking at people at under 14s, 15s with potential to eventually within the next 2 years, or if they're under 14s, or 1 year if they're under 15s and turn 16s, giving them a scholarship deal. Or like you see with some clubs, they're just sourcing the best players that are past academy level and just need some development to bridge that gap to the first team. So I feel academies isn't going to be a thing anymore. So that could be better, but it also could be worse for players. Riyadh asks, what's your thoughts on Adam Onas? Well, to be honest, I haven't really been following his progress since he's moved to Italy, but I like him, see him here and now and again. He's a good player, man. If you want my extended thoughts at the time, just type in Delu Deguna, Adam Onas, and it'll come up for you, my guy, David. But yeah, Ibrahim's asked, when do you think Amici is going to see first team ball? Well, probably next season. Carling Cup and them things there. I'd love for him to make his debut this season. I don't see why he can't, especially if we progress in the Europa League and it comes to a point where we're going to have to choose between the Europa League or the Premier League. I want to compete for both. I really want to, but there's going to come like last year when we put all our eggs in the Europa League and it didn't bang, or like when United did it and they won it. There's going to come a time where that needs to happen, my guy. So maybe that presents opportunities to not just him, but young players. But for me anyways, is he ready to start week in, week out? Of course not, but I would like to see him. I don't know, but from what I don't know, I would like to see him training with the first team, possibly travelling. You've seen Emil Smith and that travel, and Michi and Saka the next up. We need to be patient with these guys, but within the next 18 months, you'd expect him to make a couple of appearances at first team level. Or because of the current trend of football, could he potentially even go out on loan to Germany and stuff like that, Saka included? I don't want them to, in the sense that you guys know I like to keep my sick young players at the club, but it might be good for their development. Football Comps 10 has asked, big up to yourself, my guy. Hey, I have a question for your next Q&A. If we end up selling Ozil, who do you think we should get as a replacement? Well, if money wasn't a thing, I would love Adam Onas. I'm lying. I just saw Adam Onas on that question. I don't know why he's in my head. I would like Kai Havertz, my guy, or João Felix, but we can't afford either of them. Yeah, they would be the guys that come to my mind, to be fair with you. But yeah, if we could find someone like Bernardo Silva, that'd be perfect too. But yeah, it all depends on the budget, man. You're seeing anything from 50 million to 100 million, 40 to 100 million, better yet, depending on how we qualify and depending on what newspaper article you read on the day. So João Felix, we probably can't afford him because you're seeing 100 million quotes allegedly from Benfica. So boy, CM's asked, big up yourself, my guy. Who would you pick in your team? Mane, Sane, Sterling, Son, or Martial? If you can only pick one, I'm not too sure, my guy. I'll take them all. out of all of them, I'd take Sterling. You guys know I'm a big fan of Raheem Sterling, and he's playing better. He's arguably in better form than, well, it's not even argue, it's a fact he's in better form than all of them, to be fair with you. Mane's doing decent, Son's doing his thing as well, Martial resurgent, but Sterling clearly is the better one. I'm not talking ability, but out of them names in terms of form, would be him. So bias would be with Sterling. I mean, he's a Gaza man, one of my favourite players, if not the favourite player in the Premier League for me personally. So it'd be Sterling. If I was to remove that, I'm a big fan of Martial. How can you not like Mane? Mane is a savage. He is one of the few footballers I like that once he smells blood, he keeps going in for the kill. He doesn't let up. I really like him, and I would hate to play against him as a fullback. So Mane, I feel Sane's got more ability than Sterling. Sterling's applying it, but Sane's got all the potential in the world to be the best player in the Premier League and one of the top players in the world. Whether he progresses is another thing. I would love him as well. I'd love all of them, to be fair with you. Son's a bad boy footballer as well. I know he plays for Spurs. I'd be happy with all of them, to be fair with you. If I had to rank them in terms of who I'd want, again, it's tough because I love all of them. But I'd say Sterling, Sane, because I love them both. Martial, probably, then Mane. In fact, Mane, then Martial. In fact, Martial, Mane, same level, my guy. And probably Son last, but that's nothing to do with Son. That's just my own personal bias. I think Son's a bad boy footballer, and he would definitely get into the Arsenal side. And you're seeing what he's doing, again, whether it's in the Champions League against Dortmund or many other times in the Premier League with injuries that Spurs have been facing. He's come clutch time and time again. And I think Son's a bad boy footballer. Like, he's a good dribbler. He can clearly got an eye for goal, couple of positions, consistency. Yeah, man, what else is there more to say? Like, he's got that Alexis Sanchez thing about him. He's playing games. He's playing, like, what? Last year alone, he played what? Or the early this year as well. 2 competitions for South Korea. Obviously, he was always in the Spurs side, if I can remember correctly, since the season started. But now he is, or he's featuring substantially. Do you get what I'm saying, people? So, good question, man. Good question. N1 official LF asks, how do you know about these players? I just watch football. I know a lot of people think football, I've got a magic book or football some magic game. I just watch football. To a degree, I know where I like to look in terms of to see certain players, and I just like football. So I guess when you just have a hunger for football and you just want to look everywhere, you come across players. I'm not no myth. I've never claimed to be no super eye, no super scout. I'm just a man who watches football and just has opinions, and I happen to put them on YouTube, and you see certain videos like Guendouzi just pop up, man. I'm not the only one who knew Guendouzi. I'm not the first who saw him. I'm a man in my room talking about football. There's mad scouting teams that knew about him. I just saw him. I thought, let me make a vid, and that's what I do with YouTube. I just share my opinions. So that's it really. It's not rocket science. Just watch football. Per Muse asked, do you have any hope in Kroenke ever taking Arsenal to new peaks, or has Arsenal peaked has Arsenal peaked in our time? On one hand, I mean, top 6 club, one of the richest, still got, regardless of your opinions on Ozil, Lacazette, Aubameyang, still able to attract these sort of players, still paying them big money, still getting a lot of money, so there is potential, but ultimately, the working mentality of a football club lies with the shepherd. Wenger, Ivan Gazidez, even Unai Emery now, Sanye, all of these guys, Mislintat, whether you want to praise them or not, or critique them, they're just essentially puppets, they're sheep going to the slaughter. The shepherd, Kroenke, is the one who delivers the messages, and if only he cared about us as much as he cares about his other interests, whether it's making profit or the NFL, we'd be somewhere. So I would love it to happen. I feel we more so got, I wouldn't say do a Leicester, but it's more so going to have to be on the manager, similar to Pochettino. Pochettino knows there's only a certain degree he can take the side in terms of his improved players. Everyone from Sissoko to Kane, they've got the consistency, they've got the work ethic. But to get to that next level, they need a couple more top bracket players. And I don't know if Daniel Levy's going to butt them it. So Spurs fans, they know this, they're frustrated with it. But you're just relying on Pochettino to work a miracle. And that doesn't happen. He needs to be backed. And I'm relying on Unai Emery to do that, to be fair with you. Or whoever, if he was to leave tomorrow, whoever would be the club. Because again, not everything is Kroenke's fault. I won't lie to you. I feel we can't always blame Kroenke, but ultimately the penny drops with him. So I don't know, my guy. Seeing is believing, G. I'd love to be able to tell you different, but that's what I feel. Aaron's asked, do you feel that Matt Macey will ever make it past... Let me start again. Do you feel that Matt Macey will ever make it past something like 3 keepers, or should he leave? It's difficult, man. I know Martinez, he wasn't getting first team football, and he's told he can be second choice next year, doing okay at Reading. So next year at least, it looks like Leno, Martinez, and possibly that you can't rule out bringing in another keeper. So I'm not too sure. I mean, he's at an age now where he needs to go and get football. He's having a mixed loan spell. Seeing is believing. He's still young in goalkeeping terms, but currently I can't possibly see anything at this club more than being third, second choice, being registered in terms of being homegrown. He's a decent keeper and obviously could develop. And again, he's still young in terms of not only his age for a keeper, but he has. I'll be shocked if he's made 100 career appearances so far. He probably has when you add up all the loan spells, but I'm not too sure. So yeah, man, he signed a new deal, so the club believe in him. So it's just down to him to work. Who knows? Kaya Wilson's asked, do you believe Arsenal have a future first team goalkeeper for the? Right. I need to enlarge it now. I can't really see that one. Sorry, people. Yeah. Do you believe Arsenal have a first-team goalkeeper for the future in Leno? I've got reservations about Leno. He's an upgrade on Czech. I feel Leno's been good. He clearly is our first-choice keeper for at least the next 2-3 seasons, at least, unless something else happens. I like him, but like I said, he's clearly not an Edison, De Gea, Courtois historically. Even I wouldn't even Kepa's a couple brackets ahead of him. I feel Leno is a good shot stopper. I feel he's made some good saves. I feel at times he's been let down by the defence. In fact, many a times he's been let down by our defence. But at times he doesn't fill me with any confidence. I like my keepers to be confident, but he's got this. I don't know him, so I'm not making personal comments. Only what I see on the football field. Just this air of arrogance that he'll expect to meet every ball, or he'll expect everything to happen. And I don't feel you can be arrogant as a keeper. You need to be vocal, but you can't be arrogant because that leads to complacency. Obviously, you see the mistake against Chelsea, the Liverpool one. A couple of times he's failed to collect crosses. Couple of shots he should be saving. He's a bit suspect. He is a bit suspect. But even him, he's young in goalkeeping terms. And to be honest, at the start of the season, when we was calling for him to start and we couldn't possibly understand why he wasn't starting, maybe this is what Unai was seeing. So I believe in him. I'd say about 80%. I think in fact a better example, out of 10, I'd probably give him a 5. I think he's a 5 out of 10 keeper. Nothing wrong with that. That's 50% really. I just don't feel he's the mad bracket. I think you could win a league if things were different. We could win a league title with Leno because he's not the worst of keepers, but he's not them keepers that make me feel wow. I don't feel he'll ever develop into that. I'd love to be wrong, and I'll praise him for his ball playing as well. Sometimes I think he puts our team under pressure with some of the balls he picks out, and sometimes his kicking is atrocious, but he can ball play. That's central to how we want to play. He was brought in to implement that sort of style, or the manager wanted to implement that, and he's doing that. So what can I say, to be honest with you? Last question, I believe, is Truth884. He said, shout out to you, man, always in the comments. Do you think the reason the media has a love fest with Spurs is because of the amount of English players? Kane, Dele Alli, Dyer, Trippier seem to be pampered by the English journalism. Pardon me, sorry, my guy, for yawning. You could say so. I'd probably, maybe, yeah, man, like Kane's always getting fake stats made about him every day, about the first player to do this and that, the first player to score with his toenails cut at a certain length and things like that. But I don't know, that's not a question for me to ask, man. I feel everybody in the media, whether they support Arsenal, hate Arsenal, the same for Spurs, United, all of these things, they've all got agendas because they're all human. And a lot of these people, we live in a day and age where outrage sells, temporary outrage. You see marketing of companies do it, they'll whether it's derogatory items that are borderline racist, they'll apologise, but it gets them talking. You see TalkSport and all of these things every day, or GMTV, crazy takes on just mad stuff. Because why? Because people are going to get angry and talking about it. It's like, why would you talk about it? That's so stupid. But it gets talking, presents a buzz point. So if you're a journalist, I don't know, if you're Joe Blogs and you work for The Sun and you say something like, Spurs have had the best team in the last 10 decades. No disrespect, Spurs fans. That's going to get clicks. People are going to call you an idiot. People are going to say this and that. But you're going to find your name trending. You're going to find more clicks to your website. These men, or the article, these men are trying to earn a living just like us. More clicks equals more money, or promotions, or better access, or greater importance. You get it, people. That's right. You need to remember, people in life play games. Agents have agendas. Managers have agendas. Clubs have agendas. Players, everybody in life, but specific to football, has some sort of agenda. None of them are completely honest in anything. But I think I've answered everything, people. It's been a good Q&A, man. We probably finished a bit quicker than we usually do. Not as much questions as usual, but like I said, man, without you lot, Q&A can't happen. So without a doubt, thank you for the questions, people. Gonna get out of your hair now. And yeah, it's Thursday. When this comes out, it'll be Friday. So yeah, stay safe and them things. Deluded.